Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
We have lots of great questions from our viewers.
All right.
Okay, I'm focused on parallel realities here.
Yes, good idea, since that is the subject.
From your perspective, what does it mean to visit a parallel reality where nothing is relevant?
There will always be something that is relevant, including the idea that nothing being relevant might be relevant for that particular person, although that would be rare. The idea of experiencing a parallel reality where nothing at first appears relevant can simply be a resting point for a person where they don't necessarily have to focus on anything in particular, but that wouldn't last that long. It may give them a break, a breathing space, as you say, but then relatively quickly, the relevance would come back in. Remember that you're shifting billions of times per second. You don't rest in any one particular parallel reality, and therefore the idea of a string of parallel realities where nothing is relevant at all or nothing appears to be relevant at all would still be the product of shifting billions of times through different parallel realities, each of which doesn't necessarily present relevance to you. But that would quickly change, because the whole idea is to experience what is relevant for you to be able to move through the process that is necessary for you to change and grow and discover new ideas and new experiences and new aspects of your being.
Thank you. This person is saying, sometimes it's not clear which choice is the most exciting to me when I'm following the formula. I define the possible choices as parallel realities, and I ask myself, which parallel reality do I prefer? This seems to help me see the choices in a more expansive way that includes the corresponding past and future that goes along with each parallel reality, and helps me discern the choice that I prefer. I'd love to hear anything you have to add to this way of viewing our possible choices moment to moment. Thank you.
If that is the way that works for you, then that is your permission slip. That's the way that you believe you'll be able to have clearer discernment about which path to take. And as we said, if both really still continue to seem equal, you might as well flip a coin. That could reveal which path is more exciting, more relevant for you. But again, even if that doesn't work and both or more than two seem relevant, are they equally actable is the next question. If they are also not only equally exciting and equally actable, then again remember that the tool of synchronicity will come into play, so that whatever path you do choose to go down, it really won't matter, because synchronicity will turn you around through situations and circumstances that will arise to turn you around to the path that is more relevant for you at that time. So it really doesn't matter which you choose to act on first if all things seem to be equal. Synchronicity will bring you to the path that is important for you at that moment. But if that is the methodology that you prefer to use in terms of thinking of the choices as whole parallel reality time streams, then stick with it if that's what's working for you. It's fine as a permission slip.
Okay. Can you provide an idea of a permission slip for choosing the parallel reality we prefer? Is that what you just answered?
That
How
is
can
what I
we
just
see the
answered.
ones closer to us vibrationally to choose the best one?
Again, it is what we just answered, but at the same time, the bottom line answer, as you say, is follow the formula. That's again why we give it to you all. There are many questions that ask about things that the formula is the answer for. It is very important for all of you to have a deep understanding of the formula, to understand it as the instruction manual, to understand that that's how you're creating your reality anyway, to understand that while you are shifting billions of times per second, the formula is the navigation tool. It is what is bringing you closer and closer and closer to the vibratory version of Earth that is closest to the reality that represents your core vibration. It leaves nothing important out. It is very crucial to understand how the formula works, to have a deeper and more precise understanding of it, because it is often the answer to many of these individuated questions that seem to be different questions, but again, are really all the same question from a different point of view, and thus all have the same answer. Understand clearly and follow and act on the formula.
All right. And this person would like to know what they have to do to move to a parallel universe.
You're moving to parallel universes all the time. Again, billions of times per second. Again, it is important to understand how things actually work. You're constantly shifting into a new universe, a new parallel reality, and thus, again, by following the formula, you will navigate yourself through all of these shifts in the direction and constantly continue to experience different versions, different universes, different parallel reality versions of Earth that are constantly more and more and more in alignment with your core true vibration.
So what happens to the me in the previous parallel universe?
It isn't you. The idea is that's another person experiencing whatever it is they're experiencing. But again, you're talking about a timeline. Remember, the idea of parallel realities really are like static frames, static photos. So the idea is there is no real experience in any of those things except by the idea of the greater being, the greater self, the more expanded non-physical version of the consciousness that you are, choosing to experience all of these things simultaneously. Therefore, it's only from your linear space-time perspective that you appear to be shifting. From the higher point of view and the higher being that you are, you're experiencing all these things at once. There is no shifting per se. All of these parallel realities are experienced by the greater you all at the same time. So the question that you're asking is only from the linear space-time that would seem to be leaving a version of yourself behind, but it doesn't really leave a version of yourself behind. That's another expression of the greater you being experienced simultaneously by the greater you. You're all going on at the same time. The shifting is only experienced from the linear space-time reality.
So the fact that all of these frames are static and that the difference in terms of the story that gets created by shifting through those static parallel reality frames is that as long as your frequency is in the correct state by following the formula and being more and more aligned to your true self, that becomes the automatic navigational tool that will take you into the story that is representative of your higher frequency.
Yes. It's as simple as that.
That's what's so simple about it, is that once you get the knack at being your true self or being that frequency, that higher frequency, you can rely on it to bring you the things that are going to continue that higher state.
Yes.
And give you a good story in a sense.
Give you the story that is relevant for the personality framework that you have created for this theme of exploration. All the things that are relevant for you. All the things that allow you to experience your true vibration, your essential self. Yes.
So that's why it all works, because they're all static frames and you're the guiding mechanism that determines which frames you experience.
From the linear perspective, yes. From the higher perspective, you're experiencing all of them anyway.
All right. So
it is the physical perspective, the space-time linear perspective, that allows you to individuate the frames, to experience them as a particular point of view, as a particular person. From the higher level, from the non-physical spirit level, you're experiencing all of them, if you wish to. So it is the physical reality that allows you to experience the idea of the frames one at a time, one apparently after another, to give you the sense of linear change, of movement, of story. Yes.
Yeah, because I guess if we chose to incarnate onto Earth and be a physical being, knowing how to navigate this reality really makes a big difference in terms of whether or not you enjoy your time here.
Yes, whether or not the story is truly representative of who you are. Physical space-time is for the purpose of experiencing a story. Your story. This story as this person.
That's your potential. And that's what the formula allows you to do, is move closer and closer to that potential.
To that story that is you. Yes. To tell the story, to experience the story, to live the story that is uniquely this personality, this particular perspective. Personality is perspective. This perspective, a unique perspective, a unique story. You are a story as a physical being. You are a story, a linear story.
It's very amazing.
It is. This is why story structure is built into you, built into your psyche. This is why story is so important in physical reality. It is through story that you remember most efficiently any information that you care to remember. Always through story structure is the way you retain it, because it's built into you, because physical reality is all about telling a story, living a story, experiencing your unique story.
Yeah, well, once you get the hang of it, I guess, and you're experiencing more and more positive realities,
Yes,
then that at that point you may not feel such a strong need to escape from being physical.
of course not. Because again, it is a valid experience and a beautiful story.
Wow, it's very empowering.
Yes.
So this question is asking these questions after reading Masters of Limitation.
Yes.
First, are the parallel versions of Earth static moments of what we would consider infinitesimally small amounts of time, like a billionth of a second? Or are there different timelines based on differing probabilities? In other words, are they more like photos or videos? It seems like when you use the word frames, that they're more like photos, which we string together in our mind to create experiences of moving images that we think of as timelines. Is that correct?
Yes. You string the photos together to create the videos. You string the frames together to create the timeline. Yes, exactly so.
And how can we become more aware of the consciousness jumps we're making and be more conscious about choosing where we land, so to speak?
I suppose the answer would be the same as before. Follow the formula. The formula is the tool. The formula is the navigation. It is the rudder. Act on the formula. Understand it clearly and act on it precisely.
So
It's
the
that
idea,
simple. The answer is not different.
and so the idea about having a positive state of being involves, exploring when negative feelings come up and transmuting that into something that's more positive for you and
Yes, again,
investigating your belief systems.
yes, but it's not that you're actually calling negative things positive things. It's that you're staying in a positive state so you can get a benefit from whatever happens, even if it was generated negatively.
And part of that is saying you don't necessarily know why this particular thing manifested, but if you can find a positive way to relate to it, that's where you're the most powerful in transmuting it.
If you find a positive way to relate to it, then you do know why it manifested for that purpose, to give you that option, to give you that opportunity to do exactly that. That's why it manifested. As I've said before, even if you manifest something you objectively and neutrally don't prefer, that's vibrationally not compatible with who you prefer to be, you have to know it's still there for a reason. And the reason why it's there is to give you an opportunity to find out if you're going to react the same old negative way to it, or if you're going to take the different path of responding more positively to know that it can serve you by defining why it's there and using why it's there in a positive way. Again, for example, if nothing else, manifesting something you don't prefer makes it clearer, by contrast, what you do prefer. Staying in the state of mind that allows you to use something you don't prefer as a comparison to what you do prefer, so that it makes what you do prefer clearer, is a positive way to use what you don't prefer. And once you've used it that way, it will go away because you've learned the lesson. You've used it in the way that serves you in a positive sense, and thus you do know exactly why it manifested that way, to give you the opportunity to do just that.
And also, at what levels can free will be exercised?
At every level except the original agreement you made. In other words, you have made an agreement to experience certain themes, certain challenges, certain transformative opportunities. You will experience them. But how you go through that, how you resolve that, how you deal with it, how you respond to it, how you figure it all out is up to your free will. Again, the analogy of the hallway. You are a hallway. You will experience things only as the personality that you are, that you have chosen to be, and face the challenges you have chosen to face. But you can face them positively, negatively. You can face them happily or sad. You can walk, you can run, you can fly, you can crawl, backwards or forwards, up or down, side to side. You can look in every doorway down the hallway. You can ignore them all. How you go down the hallway is up to your free will as a physical being. But going down the hallway is what you will do as your destiny, chosen by the free will of the spirit that you are, the higher self that you are, from the non-physical realm. So you create your destiny by exercising your free will as a spirit, but once you have done so and determined the path you will walk, the hallway you will walk down, then that is your destiny, but you can use your free will as a living physical person to determine how you will experience that hallway, how you will be as the person that you have chosen to be.
And can we move to a parallel reality where our physical body has different characteristics than the reality we currently occupy? Or is there a physical law that impedes that?
No, you can do that, and there are many demonstrations of that. What you might call an instantaneous healing, a spontaneous healing, or a shift or spontaneous change that seem to involve no process at all, is sometimes representative of the idea that you've shifted to a parallel reality where you are now truly a different person and a different body, and a different past and a different future. So every change is a total change, but they don't necessarily seem like it because there isn't necessarily what you would call a space-time gap in the idea. You don't see an abrupt change from one state to another, but sometimes you do. One of the clearest examples that exists in your reality about this are what you might refer to as multiple personality disorders, where one personality may have a tumor, and when it shifts to a different personality, then the body exhibits no tumor at all. These things have been documented and recorded in your reality, and many different cases like this. That's an indication of shifting to a parallel reality in such a manner that there is no continuity between one frame and the next. So yes, it's possible. But is it relevant? That's always the question. Is it probable, according to your belief systems, that this will happen? And is it relevant for you for that to happen that way? Or is the process necessary? Is the gradual process something you will learn something from? So yes, it's possible, but is it probable or relevant is really the question. It's not about avoiding things. It's about allowing the process that is there to be necessary. You can always reduce the amount of process by examining your belief systems about what you believe you need to really learn a lesson in any given process. You can always streamline the process down to its minimum, but you can't always eliminate the process, because process is the entire point of experiencing physical reality. Telling yourself a story, learning something from it, learning the moral of the story that you're telling yourself. So you can't necessarily completely eliminate the story, but often the story can shift in abrupt ways if it's relevant for the story to do so, if that's what will teach you the lesson that you chose to learn. But you can't use it to avoid the lesson.
And how is a person's spirit interacting with parallel versions of themselves?
In the same way that physical personalities do, because you have a soul for every personality. You have a spirit for every personality. So the idea is that you have individual people in individual realities with individual souls and spirits, all learning at the same time, and it all goes back to the oversoul. It's the oversoul level that experiences the simultaneity of all the incarnations, all the individual souls, all the individual spirits. A spirit is simply the collected experience of a soul in a particular personality framework. It's like, again, the idea is that the soul is the unfired, malleable clay, and when you have an experience, it turns that into the spirit, the fired clay, the ceramic of the experience. All of that is contained in the oversoul. But there are individual spirits, individual souls, individual higher minds for every individual physical personality. As you shift billions of times per second, not only are you shifting the idea of the physical persona, but the soul and the spirit and the higher mind that goes with it.
And are parallel realities infinite, or is it like grains of sand where there are so many that you just can't count them?
Parallel realities in general are infinite, but the idea is that only a finite number of them may be relevant for you to experience as a particular personality.
And it is so far understood that the collective animates the big picture. But how big is my impact on the collective manifestation in physical reality? How quickly can I change the big picture for myself?
You're changing the big picture as an individual all the time. Whether you are aware of the changes or not, or the impact or not, is a different issue. But you have all the impact on the collective that you can possibly have. By acting on your passion, it may reveal the impact that you have, but it doesn't create more impact on the total whole. You already have a complete and total impact on the whole just by being part of it. So any change you make changes the whole, although the degree to which you experience the change may be different, may seem small, may seem big, depending upon what acting on your passion does. But it always impacts the whole, no matter to what degree. It makes a difference.
Now, this person is saying that they witnessed someone speaking on stage and heard 8 simultaneous versions speaking at the same time. Time was standing still, so I could perceive several at once. Then I chose the one that was my highest excitement. Are we all broadcasting like this all the time on multiple channels? And is that another way to talk about parallel realities?
Absolutely. What you have simply done by expanding your consciousness is increased your sensitivity to pick up on more channels all at the same time. So the idea is that this is potentially a common symptom for those who are continuing to accelerate, continuing to upgrade their vibrational frequency, and allow their senses to span multiple parallel realities simultaneously, to download information more simultaneously when your senses can handle it, when you can process it by expanding your consciousness. You might call it a mini oversoul point of view, but this is going to become more and more common. This is how we experience reality in my civilization. which is why it is like walking through a dream of multiple dimensions simultaneously. We see many multiple probabilities all at once and can more easily recognize the path that is truly ours. So we simply give you congratulations on expanding your consciousness to the point where you're experiencing the broadcast of multiple realities simultaneously that everyone is already doing, but most people are simply not aware that they're doing.
And once we decide to shift from our current reality to another more aligned with our desires, how will individuals from our previous reality perceive our change or absence? Will they notice a shift, or will their memories and perceptions adapt to a new narrative?
They might, because remember, they're your projections and reflections of the change you've made within yourself anyway. Some of them might entirely disappear from your life if they simply have no purpose in experiencing the change. Some of them might recognize the change within you and say, oh, you're different today, I'm not exactly sure why. And some of them will relate to you completely as the idea of new people as a reflection of the new change you have made within yourself. It can be a range of things.
And can you tell us how we can tap into another parallel version of ourselves? For example, to download information or knowledge about a subject, how can we consciously experience that download?
You can allow your imagination to be your guide in telling yourself a story of that particular persona that is engaged in the subject matter you find interesting. Allow yourself the free rein to see what the story of that individual would be like in all aspects of that individual's life, and mirror it as best as you possibly can, taking actions on the opportunity that synchronicity provides to match the idea of the behaviors and actions and feelings and thoughts of the individual you imagine in your story is living that kind of a life, and mirroring it as best as you possibly can. If it's not relevant for you, synchronicity will turn you around from it. If it is relevant, then you'll become, in a sense, more like that individual and experience the download of information that is relevant for the individual that you are mirroring.
And for those of us who have faced prolonged health challenges, how can we consciously tap into and align with a parallel reality where our physical health is at its optimum? Are there specific practices or mindset shifts that can assist with this transition?
Yes, by asking yourself, what is the lesson you're learning, or what are you experiencing you otherwise would not have experienced by not having the health issue? By learning the lesson of why the health issue is there, you may be able to shift yourself to a parallel reality where it's no longer necessary, or perhaps more precisely, never has been necessary for that version of yourself to experience that health issue, because it's not necessary for you to experience that lesson as the new individual in the new reality. But the first thing to do is to let yourself learn the lesson of why you are experiencing what you're experiencing. Again, it's not about avoidance. It's not about running away from it. It's about accepting that that's what's happening in your reality and asking yourself to be clear about what you would not be learning that you are learning if you hadn't had the health issue. How is it serving you? What are you learning from it? Accepting that will allow you more opportunity to shift it, but you have to understand why it's there.
In understanding of our biological aging process, telomeres are often viewed as indicators of the length and cellular health. How accurate is this understanding within the context of parallel realities? And can we shift into a reality where our telomeres are longer, healthier, and more robust?
Yes, and in fact, many of your scientists are studying this very idea now by studying certain species of bats whose telomeres never change. In other words, they never appear to age. A 1-year-old bat looks the same as a 15-year-old bat because their telomeres never change. So you are studying the idea of telomeres from a scientific point of view, but you can also understand, again, the idea of relevance in this. The telomeres will not change if you shift through a series of parallel realities where you are living more and more and more truly in the moment, because living in the moment creates the experience of less time and allows you to see yourself as ageless. So it's about living in the moment in a certain way, and it is about that idea as to why the bat's telomeres never change. They are experiencing time in a very different way than you are. So the idea is to live more in the moment and find out that the result of that will be that your telomeres will stay longer because you're not really aging, because you're not experiencing as much time, because you're living in the timeless now.
And on the subject of bats, can you give us a little information about them as a spirit animal and also why they are so prevalent in terms of some of our health issues, at the present time?
Again, they form a kind of dichotomy symbol. The idea of being the only mammal that can fly is an expression of the potential in a positive way of how you can uplift yourselves and evolve yourselves in a way that makes you unique, to accelerate your vibration and ascend to greater heights. At the same time, they form the polarity of the idea of being ill at ease with yourselves, ill at ease with your true beings, not willing to live in the moment, but experiencing the concepts of anchoring into time and focusing on too many details that bring your vibration down. Things like lack of worthiness, regrets, self-judgments, which create the dark persona of the bat, symbolizing the idea of what you call evil, which is simply an anagram of live. So the idea is they perform the function, the symbolic function of the polarity of your potential to soar to great heights, or to also be representative of deep, deep darkness and the idea of attachment to negativity in life.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Does an instance in a parallel reality, this person's asking this, does an instance in a parallel reality of mine exist, even if I or someone else doesn't ever think of it? And for example, I can imagine many bad things that I would really dislike if they happened. Do they exist in a parallel reality because I thought of them?
They exist in a parallel reality whether you think of them or not. Thinking of them may simply make you aware of the fact that those parallel realities do exist. But again, there are certain things in other parallel realities that are simply not relevant for you to experience in your timeline. So all of that's going on, all those things exist, all those are real experiences to some version of yourself, even though it's not really you, they're other people. But the idea is they may simply not be relevant for you. So you don't even have to be aware of them, even though they're going on. In the same way that watching one program on your television doesn't necessarily make you aware of the fact that there are other programs going on simultaneously, because that's simply not the program you need to be watching. Doesn't mean they're not happening. And it doesn't mean you have to worry about it. And if one moment or another you might think, oh, well, maybe there's another program where what I'm watching here is a little bit different, or the opposite is happening to these characters. Well, yes, that may be true. But again, it has nothing to do with the program that you're watching.
So in terms of that idea that our consciousness is the projector,
Yes.
and it's projecting itself through certain frames,
Yes.
and the idea that if we suddenly become aware of a negative reality that maybe creates a feeling of fear in us, that we don't want to experience that, or, oh my gosh, that's happening somewhere, someplace. How can I make sure that the fact that I've just walked into the library, opened up this book, and see this thing I don't want to experience, how can I relate to it in that moment so that I understand that I don't have to manifest that?
Don't be afraid of it. Just because you open the book doesn't mean that it has to become your story. You can close the book and put it back on the shelf. The neutral response is what lets you know you don't necessarily have to experience it. A fear-based response is telling you that you're attracting it, but that you still have time to close the book. But again, you can't close it out of fear. It might be giving you an opportunity to neutralize it, to realize that just because you observe something momentarily doesn't mean it has to become part of your story. So it's the reaction that's important, and the reaction that tells you what your belief system is all about. If you have a fear reaction, it could be telling you, hey, you have a belief system that says that this is more likely to happen than any other story. Why? Then figure that out. Take that opportunity to find out why you would react that way, why you would believe that that's more likely to happen in your life than any other kind of an experience. Give yourself the opportunity to change the story, to write a new story. Because if you have a fear reaction, there's a reason that you do. So find out what belief it's attached to, what belief that the fear comes from, and write a new story. Work with it. You're a writer. You're a creator. Write the story. Find out why you react the way you do, and change it by examining it and understanding why you're choosing to react as if that's more inevitable than any other choice. It's giving you the opportunity to write your story.
So if someone experiences the idea of fear of physical harm, in a sense, something bad happening to them physically,
Yes.
since that's such an ingrained part of our biology and it's necessary for us to remain physical, to at least be recognizing that that would be physically harmful, what is the way to relate to these kinds of powerful fears that,
Yes, yes. As we said before, ask yourself, well, if that did happen, what would I think that was necessary to learn from? Can I learn it some other way? Is that the only way I can learn the lesson that that particular physical harmful experience would deliver to me? What would I learn from that if it happened that way? What beliefs is it telling me I have within myself that I don't necessarily prefer? Can I change those beliefs so that the physical harm becomes unnecessary? Is that what the fear of the physical harm is really all about? To bring my attention to the fact that I think I need to be physically harmed in order to learn something, in order to grow, in order to change? Is that the only way I can learn that lesson? What's it attempting to tell me? Find out what the beliefs are. Again, it goes back to the same thing. Why do you believe that that might be something that would be more inevitable in your life than any other choice?
So in a way, applying that idea to some of the tragic, I guess I'll call them tragic, some of the things that have happened on Earth recently having to do with fires and
Yes.
many people perishing, and war where many people are perishing. The best way to relate to these ideas, since they come into our awareness, they appear to be occurring on our planet, and they
What
may
are
happen.
the lessons learned? What are the lessons learned from all perspectives? What are the lessons that are there for people to pick up on? Are these things the consequences of choices that people have made that may have been fear-based or negative choices? More often than not, yes, they are. So what can you learn to do differently from the experience? Many people might actually, on a different level, be willing to take themselves out in that experience so that the ones that remain can learn a lesson and change. Are they going to learn the lessons? Are they going to change the way they do things? Are they going to change the choices that they make? Or not? Again, remember, from a higher level, spirits know that lives in physical reality are temporary, are a projection of consciousness. And even though it may not seem so from the physical perspective, even groups of people may be willing to take themselves into spirit again, to pull back from the physical dream, to wake up in spirit, to teach the remainders a lesson, to allow them to examine their choices and change the way things are done so they can experience different consequences. That's usually the case.
So even when we see that some people have made choices that have led to their demise in one way or another, you can never really know if they're not, in a sense, sacrificing themselves, and for a higher purpose there and
Yes.
affecting many people. So it's
Yes.
not something to judge as a poor choice so much as it is to recognize you have no idea why that person chose
It
this.
could be the matter of a fear-based belief. It could be the matter of a higher spiritual calling that allows them to make the choice to let other people that are still physically alive learn to make different choices. It can be any of those things and a range of those things depending upon the person. But
And is it also
the agreement is still made from a higher level that they will do this together no matter what the individual reason is. The timing has been chosen by all of them to do it, to take that as an advantage, to base it on a consequence of either their individual belief systems or the collective belief system of what can serve the greater good?
And so is that the case also that there's sort of a window of time when it's your time to go, so to speak?
Yes,
And
that
that
can factor
at
in.
another level, your spirit may choose whatever opportunities are presented in the present reality?
Yes, because again, there are many pathways in and there are many pathways out. So, in a general window of timing that serves you best, you will generally get the consequence that fulfills the general window of timing that is the theme that you chose to explore at its conclusion, generally
Okay.
speaking.
Now, okay, maybe this is the same kind of question. So
Maybe.
it has to do with people being afraid of painful death.
Yes.
Um, the person is saying that dying is like waking up from a dream and it's generally painless. However,
Yes.
it appears that many death processes involve physical pain, such as illness, accidents, suicides. How can we ensure a pain free experience during the dying process? And why does it often seem contradictory to the notion of a painless transition?
It's not contradictory because the transition itself is painless. But as you're saying, the process leading up to it may contain pain. Again, for a variety of different reasons based on the different people that experience it and whether or not it's a consequence of their belief system, whether or not it's something that helps accelerate their soul's experience by experiencing everything all at once at the end rather than having experienced it through the entire span of their life. That can be a choice of the soul as well. It's like burning off the idea of experiencing negativity all at once instead of experiencing it spread out through the lifetime. A soul can choose that kind of an experience. It could also be an experience that gives someone left alive something to think about, something to learn from, something to change their reality by seeing what that person is going through. Again, it can be a variety of reasons based on the number of people experiencing the idea of pain. You have to take it on a case-by-case basis. You have to understand the reason why that's being experienced, and there are any number of reasons why.
Okay, and so many people are brokenhearted when their dog dies. Do dogs go to heaven and wait for us there?
Yes, everything goes home. Everything goes home. It's where you are. It's where you come from. Physical reality is just a projection. Your real home is in spirit. That goes for anything and everything. That's why people who have quote unquote near death experiences often get a glimpse that some experiences in non physical reality appear to be very physical. Oh, there are trees and buildings and animals and people. Remember, it all starts there. It's not as below, so above. It's as above, so below. All those things that you think of existing in physical material reality exist first and foremost in spirit. So all of you are in spirit right now, and everything is in spirit right now. there is already a spirit version of everything that you experience in physical reality. It's experienced a little differently, of course, in spirit, because the space-time factor is different there. But nevertheless, it's all there. Shall we just use this linear term? It's all there first. Then it crystallizes into physical materiality, just to put it in a linear frame of reference. And of course, it all exists simultaneously. But you get what we're saying. As above first, then so below. So yes, of course, everything exists in spirit, because that's where everything actually resides right now. The idea of a physical dog is a projection of consciousness from the dog's consciousness in spirit. So yes, of course, it goes back to spirit because it's never left spirit. That's where it exists primarily, first and foremost, just like you. Just like trees, just like rocks, just like anything.
Amazing. And lastly, because we are running out of time, unfortunately, or fortunately, how are parallel realities and mirrors, actual mirrors on Earth, connected? How do parallel realities you've talked about today differ from parallel universes?
Again, a parallel universe is just, in a sense, a collection of frames of static parallel reality, photos, so to speak. It's just a matter of degree. You can say, again, you're creating a video by experiencing the static frames in a certain order, a sequence of them. You can say the same thing about the idea of a parallel universe. Every frame is its own universe, its own reality. The idea, again, is that it all goes hand in hand with the shifting that you do. You're creating a universe with every shift, experiencing a new universe with every shift. It's part of the photo, the static frame, because the totality, that's why we say every change is a total change. You're totally changing universes, because everything that you understand goes with the change. A frame contains an entire universe, even if there's no motion in it. It's still a photo of everything, everywhere, every when. Now, the mirrors can be used as a symbol, a reflection, a permission slip to put you in touch with the idea that you could be looking at a parallel reality version of yourself. I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm simply saying it's a tool that can be used that way if your consciousness seems to bend in that direction. Because it's all about light, it's all about energy, it's all about frequency, and therefore mirrors are symbolic of the idea of a mirroring, and parallel realities are symbolic of a mirroring, and a mirror can be used as a window if your consciousness bends that way, as a permission slip, if you're so inclined. That's all we're saying. So, we thank you for all of these questions and for the opportunity to provide information that you can take or leave in whatever way works for you. And now, please prepare yourself for the idea of a parallel reality meditation that you know is going on in multiple parallel realities simultaneously. Pick the one that works for you. The title of this transmission is Parallel Realities and You. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you. Let us begin by a brief explanation of how you can understand that there are such things as parallel realities. You understand that your scientists have been seeking what they call a unified theory for quite some time. The basic idea being to reduce everything down so that you understand how every phenomenon is the product and extension of a single fundamental principle, uniting everything, connecting everything, explaining everything. Well, this would have to be true not only for what they consider to be the forces of the universe, but for space-time itself, that which is the fundamental underpinning of the idea of reality, as you understand it. So not only must the idea of gravity and the atomic forces and electromagnetism all be reduced to an understanding of extensions of a fundamental principle, but space itself and time itself must also be reduced. The idea of the ultimate reduction of space would be as a single dimensionless point. We can call that single dimensionless point here. The idea of the reduction of time would be a single timeless moment. We can call that single timeless moment now. So we have the idea of a here and a now, and everything being here and now. Everything being an expression, every single experience of a different place, a different location, the idea of volumetric space, the very idea of different moments in time, past, present, future, all being extensions and products of the idea of that dimensionless point and that timeless moment. And if there is truly only a dimensionless point and a single timeless moment, the here, the now of everything, and yet you are capable of experiencing what appears to be, what feels like different places at different times, movement, change over time, moving around to different places, locations within the idea of space, you can experience that, but they must all be the product of the same dimensionless point and timeless moment, experienced in different ways, from different angles, different points of view, so to speak, different perspectives. It's the same dimensionless point, it's the same timeless moment, looked at in different ways, experienced in different ways. And thus the very notion of space-time, the very fact that you are experiencing what appear to be multiple places and multiple times, in itself is actually proof of parallel realities, because if everything is really one, everything is really here, and everything is really now, then the experience of multiple places and times are all happening at once. And thus every single moment, what you call seconds, minutes, nanoseconds, what have you, different locations, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, these all have to be happening at the same time in the same place, basically, fundamentally. And therefore, every single tick of the clock is actually an experience of a different parallel reality. Every single movement, no matter how small, is actually the experience of a different parallel reality, all existing simultaneously with every other moment, every other place. So parallel realities really are the fundamental underlying reality that you do experience. You may think of your life as happening in a single timeline, but that single timeline is actually thus composed of many different perspectives, many different movements and experiences of time, changing, movement through space, and therefore your entire timeline is actually constructed of an infinite number of parallel realities. Well, all right, finite within what you might call one lifetime, as you experience time to exist, but infinite in the varieties that exist to create all the different parallel timelines, all the different choices one may make, all the different choices one may experience in creating themes to explore as a physical being. So yes, finite to a certain degree that is relevant for whatever theme you are exploring as a physical being, as a physical consciousness, from a physical point of view, but infinite in the vast number of parallel timelines there can be, being experienced by an infinite number of versions of what you consider yourself to be. Now, of course, all those other versions are not you as a person, they are their own people, but you cross-connect to them, as we have explained, through energy, downloading information and experience from all these different parallel versions of your greater being, experiencing all these multiple incarnations simultaneously in parallel timelines. But again, remember, each parallel timeline, each timeline that seems like a single timeline is still going to be composed of different frames, you could say, that are grabbed from a variety of parallel realities in order to create the single timeline that you believe your life represents. So you're really cross-connecting in a constantly changing dynamic pattern of downloading information and experience from any number of parallel versions of yourselves, where and when it is relevant for you to do so, in order to enhance and inform the timeline that you are constructing constantly, moment by moment by moment, into what appears to be a single timeline that is actually the product of a multitude of timelines and a multitude of parallel reality experiences being had by all the different simultaneous incarnations that your oversoul is experiencing all at once. This is why you have such a wide variety of choices available to you, even though some of them may seem limited to the themes and the relevance of those themes that you are exploring. Nevertheless, this is why you can experience the destiny you have created for yourself in so many different ways. Why you can, as I say, go down that hallway, because that hallway is you. You cannot do anything other than the way you, this person, would do it. But you can do it in any number of ways that this person would choose to do it. You can walk, you can run, you can be happy, you can be sad, you can be contemplative, you can be angry, you can do it by going slowly, you can do it by jumping up and down, you can be excited, you can be calm, you can look in every doorway down the hall, you can ignore them all, you can go backwards, forwards. It's up to you how to utilize the dynamic connections that you are calling upon and connecting to from a myriad of parallel reality frames that are all existing at the same time. But you do this in a way where you have a certain kind of energy pattern to it. If you have, from time to time, seen things like moire patterns or mandalas, this is really the meaning of a mandala. The mandala is an expression of the kinds of energy patterns your consciousness is using to tap into different parallel realities, which is why mandalas, as a permission slip, sometimes can connect you to the multidimensional awareness that they do. Because the mandalas and patterns similar to mandalas, different kinds of geometric forms of that nature, especially multidimensional ones, like Merkabas and so on and so forth, are actually representative of the kind of energy patterns your consciousness is forming to tap into these different parallel realities and link to them and draw information down those lines, those mandala lines, crisscrossing here and there. This is why many of these ideas of focusing on mandalas can help expand your awareness of the multidimensional existence that you have, what you're tapping into on physical, non-physical, multidimensional levels through time and space, beyond time and space. So using mandalas that way to tap into different parallel realities as a permission slip can be very powerful in your meditations, to allow you to start cross-connecting and be a little bit more aware and realize a little bit more of what realities you are tapping into, what versions of yourselves, what counterparts of yourselves, what other incarnations, perhaps even not only on Earth but in other civilizations, you are drawing from in parallel lifetimes, in order to inform this lifetime, even as all those other lives may be drawing upon your experiences to inform their experiences in their lifetimes, in their timelines, also constructed of a myriad of parallel reality moments. So it's quite a dynamically complex pattern of energy, of consciousness, expressing itself in these geometric patterns of vibrational awareness that create the unique you that you are. No mandala is the same as any other mandala. Even if it's off by a fraction of an inch, it's still very different. It's creating a new pattern to draw down on new information. And I remind you that you're constantly dynamically plugging and unplugging in from these things. The idea of connecting to what you read as past life memories, future life memories, so on and so forth, is constantly shifting and changing to service whatever it is you have determined are the themes you're exploring as this particular personality. But you are constantly drawing upon a multitude of interdimensional experiences in parallel reality timelines to inform who you are here and now, which is why you have such a great degree of flexibility of changing who you are, because every moment is new. You can unplug from everything and replug into many different things and define who you are in this moment, who it is you prefer to be, who is the idealized expression of yourself in this particular personality construct as this version of the greater being that you are. Thus approaching more understanding and awareness of this greater being that you are, the oversoul of oversouls, and connecting to Source in a way that allows you to know that while you are, yes, an individualized reflection of all that is, you are also simultaneously all that is experiencing itself as a reflection, as an aspect, as a piece of itself. So it's both. You are the one and you are the all. Simultaneously, and this understanding of the mandala connection and the vibrational patterns that you use in your consciousness to connect and draw down information and experience from the multitude of parallel realities from which you construct each of your timelines can help you feel more expanded, can allow you to begin to experience more synchronicity in a multidimensional way in your lifetimes, can give you more of an expanded feeling of operating from the higher mind level of non-physical reality and the oversoul level beyond that, can expand your vision, your awareness, your sensitivity to seeing things that were heretofore invisible to you because you're now going to include more ideas from different parallel reality dimensions into your awareness, now going through this shift into the awakening, where you can proceed to raise your vibration to the point where more things from the spirit world and more things from multidimensional realities can be perceived by you so that you can expand and enrich your experience of reality, knowing that your experience of reality is actually the result of many different choices from many different realities that are all going to be relevant for your expansion into more self-awareness of what you are and who you are as an aspect of all that is. So, later on, we will experience a meditation to help you guide yourself in this way by using the idea of mandalas, using the idea of the patterns and vibrations of energies, and will help you by utilizing this permission slip to really begin to get more sensitized to being able to perceive things that have been around you all the time, multidimensionally, but which were heretofore invisible to you, which can now become part of your world. So we thank you for allowing us to share this information of parallel realities and you and how you use them, so you can have more awareness, more conscious awareness of how to use them to your advantage, to enrich your experience, to have a fuller life of joy, a fuller life of creativity, of imagination and intuition and perception. And in return for the gift you have given us in allowing us to share this idea with you, I ask now, in return, how may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues and your questions if you wish.
Hi Bashar, I wanted to ask you something very important for me, and I am, since I remember very sure that I came here to channel beings from another dimension like you do, and I'm kind of waiting for this to happen. I'm following my highest excitement, and it's something that is always been with me, I'm pretty sure, even though sometimes I think I just made it up. And I feel that maybe I'm just doing something wrong, or I will love some hint from you to see how I can make this happening. Thank you.
It's all right to feel at first like you're making it up. And again, as we have said, if you're bringing things through, it's always best to have other people asking questions to pull the information through you, so that you're not sitting there wondering what's going on. You're just letting it happen. You have to let go of all the ideas of needing to be at first precise and accurate and right and all this. Whatever comes through is what needs to come through. And you can always tell people, look, I'm practicing. Whatever's coming through is what I'm getting, and that's what I'm getting. Take it or leave it. It doesn't matter to me. You don't have to worry about its accuracy or anything like that, or feeling silly or looking silly or doing something wrong. Just do it and see what happens. You'll get better at it like anything. It's like practicing an instrument. So you have to let go of all the self-judgment and just tell people, look, this is what I'm getting, take it or leave it. I don't care. It's your business to take or not take what I'm sharing with you, but this is the way it's happening for me. So all you're doing, I am grateful for, is that you're giving me a chance to practice and get better at it, and we'll see what happens. But let's just have fun with it. So you need to take the pressure off yourself and just let it flow.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I'm Yujun from Singapore.
All right.
And I'd like to thank all of you for all the ET contact that you guys have been giving me. It was very enjoyable and at the same time helped me work through my negative beliefs.
All right. It is our passion and our pleasure. What would you like to discuss this day?
Right. So I channel this being, and she calls herself a fierce blue fire, but I feel that she's a shapeshifter. And until now, I don't actually know what species she is. Is she a Yael, an Octuran, or even a Kachina being? Thanks, Bashar.
It's closer to the idea of a Kachina being, though not exactly so. It's a multidimensional consciousness that is connected to your higher mind and is an extension and a part of you in a different reality. So it's acting as a kind of a guide, but I wouldn't just say it's a spirit guide. I would say, yes, it's more of a multidimensional being in that sense, that it has connections to different things that can serve you specifically in your lifetime. So for now, that's fine. Practice with it as you will. Let it express its shape-shifting capabilities to be able to tap into many different sources of information that you are capable of bringing through, if that is exciting to you.
Right. Thank you, Bashar. I kind of got that feeling that she's merged with my higher mind somehow.
Yes, that's what I said. Connected to your higher mind.
Right. Okay. Oh, another question. Is my higher mind attempting to tell me that I am confusing my anxiety with my excitement? Because I would act on my excitement, but receive synchronicities telling me to go the other way. But then when I go the other way, I receive synchronicities telling me that I'm trying too hard and I should just be myself. So why is my higher mind sending me in a loop, so to speak?
It's not sending you in a loop. Your belief systems are sending you in a loop. The higher mind guides unerringly. But you have to remember, as we have explained, there are different types of synchronicity. There's the green light synchronicity, which says here's an opportunity that you are capable of acting on. And there is the red light synchronicity saying that something may be representative of your excitement, but that doesn't mean that you are given an opportunity to act on it because the timing may not be correct right now. So it stops you from moving forward and directs you to look for what kinds of excitement you are capable of acting on, because those are the ones that will allow you to move forward. And you may be able to go back to the other form later when you have collected enough information and experience in order to do so. So the idea of moving forward and not moving forward on your excitement are the two guide rails that synchronicity provides to keep you in line with the idea of what it is you actually need to act on now and what it is you don't need to act on right away, even though it might be representative overall of your passion. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Bashar.
All right,
so basically just go with the flow and not judge
Go with
anything.
the flow. Yes, go with the flow. Now, again, you always have to be honest with yourself as to whether you're the one dampening the excitement, whether you're the one disguising the excitement as anxiety or anxiety as excitement. You have to have honest self-investigation within yourself to understand the reason why you may choose to move forward or a reason why you may not choose to move forward, to make sure you're not the one halting yourself, as opposed to it actually being synchronicity saying, no, not yet. So it just takes honest self-examination to make sure what your reasons are for moving forward on something or not moving forward on something. Does that help?
Yes, that helps, Bashar. Could you give me a simple technique by which I could, in a sense, question myself to investigate between my anxiety and excitement?
All right. Well, again, it's always, why do I believe what I believe to be true? If I do this, what am I afraid might happen? Am I afraid something will happen if I do move forward in this direction? And if so, why am I afraid? Why do I believe that that will happen? So it's a matter of asking yourself, why do you believe what you believe when you discover what it is you do believe about whether or not you have a fear of moving forward in a certain direction that might represent your excitement? Does that help?
All right. I believe that helps. Yeah.
It's
So I should
always in
just
the
ask
why.
myself,
It's always in the why.
why?
Why do I
Okay.
believe what I believe?
Right. Or why should I do this? Or why do I feel excited about
It's not
doing
about
this, right?
why should I do this. It's not about why am I excited. It's why do I believe what I believe will happen if I do this. If this is my excitement, am I afraid to move forward on it? What am I afraid will happen if I do move forward on it? You can also ask, am I fooling myself? Is this not my excitement? Am I disguising this? Am I avoiding my excitement by saying this is my excitement when it's not? Again, you have to really have honest self-investigation and find out the why you believe what you believe.
Okay. Thank you, Bashar. So why do I believe that? Okay.
Yes.
So if I believe something because of fear, then I know it's a negative belief, so to speak.
Yes. And then you can talk yourself
Okay.
out of it by understanding that it doesn't have to be true. It's just something that the belief system is telling you as a story to help you avoid going forward because you believe something worse will happen than where you are right now. Because remember, the motivational mechanism, you will always choose what you believe serves you and you will always avoid what you believe does not. But the key word is believe, because you could be choosing something that doesn't serve you, but if you believe that the alternative is worse, then you'll stay with what you're doing even if it's not pleasant, because you think the alternative would be worse. So you have to understand, why do you believe the alternative would be worse? It doesn't necessarily make sense.
True. So if it doesn't make sense, then I can let it go.
When it doesn't make sense, it is gone, because you will not hold on to something that doesn't make sense. But you have to get to the point where it actually doesn't make sense.
All right. Thank you, Bashar. Uh, Second last question. So when I first started channeling Blue Fire, the Kachina being, I
Don't
used
call it
to
a
think,
don't call it a Kachina being. It's an
oh,
interdimensional being. It's similar to a Kachina, but it's not a Kachina.
oh, okay.
Just refer to it as an interdimensional consciousness. Just refer to it by the blue fire name. That's fine.
All right. Thank you, Bashar. So I used to frequently doubt the information coming into my head because I am more or less conscious when I'm channeling.
That's fine.
So that's fine. Okay. But later on, I received synchronicities telling me something like, if I imagine it, they will make it so. So is Blue Fire telling me that imagination is actually the information coming from her?
It can be. But again, you don't have to necessarily assess it that way. The easier thing to do, first of all, are you performing this channeling for other people or just for yourself?
For other people, yes.
All right. The way to approach this is to understand whatever you get is what you need to get at that moment. Don't worry about the idea of accuracy. Don't worry about the idea of right, wrong. Understand that if you're simply being of service, what comes through is what needs to come through, even if it changes later. It serves a purpose at that moment. You have to stop editing yourself. So you have to stop judging yourself. You have to just live through. Now, you can begin by saying, look, I'm just getting what I'm getting. You don't have to take it verbatim, but this is what's coming through. This is what therefore needs to come through right now. It may feel right to you. It may not feel right to you. You get to decide. But this is the way it comes. This is the way it has to present itself at this moment. Even if in the future it changes, I will get better at this. It will be more precise in certain ways, but precision is not always the key, because sometimes certain things have to be said that will trigger someone else to understand information in a certain way, and that may have nothing to do with the idea of the accuracy of the information, but it may have everything to do with the validity of the information that will key that person to go in a certain direction. Sometimes the information coming through us is not the idea of a precise answer that fits a certain thing like a key in a lock. Sometimes it's something that's said that will trigger someone to go in a certain direction, even if it wasn't what they needed to hear or wanted to hear at that moment. It is what they actually needed to move in the direction they need to go in. So you have to not judge in any way, shape, or form what's coming through, knowing that for what it is and what it needs to do for that person, it is accurate in that sense, even if it is not necessarily informationally accurate.
I get it, Bashar. So it's just like following my excitement.
Yes, you have to allow it to be what it is in that moment. But you can tell people up front, look, what's coming through is what's coming through. Take it, leave it, it doesn't matter. But this is what it is in the moment. It's not in that sense for judging, because it's not always easy to understand exactly why what is being said is being said. You may figure it out later. You may never figure it out. But what's being said in the moment is what needs to be said in this moment. This is the way it's coming through right now for whatever reason, which we may or may never know why it came through that way. But this is what you're getting. Take it as it comes. Do with it what you will. Ignore it completely. Remember, whatever I give you, whatever you do with what I give you is none of my business anyway. It's up to you to determine how it works or doesn't work for you. This is who I am. This is what's coming through at the moment. All pressure is off. I give you that as a caveat so that you can understand that you can do with this information whatever you will, and that's just fine.
Right. Yeah, absolutely correct, Bashar. And the paradox is that the moment the pressure comes off, the information is a lot clearer and a lot better.
Correct.
Okay. Last question. A lot of people are very excited about seeing UFOs in the night sky. Is there a permission slip you could give us to raise our frequency so that we can see what's already there?
Just follow the formula. The meditation that we'll give you today may also help.
Oh, okay. There's a meditation today.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Thank you, Bashar, and I'm really, really honored to have this sharing with you.
As are we. Aveo. Good day.
Aveo, and I'll see you in my dreams as usual.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good day.
Thank you, Bashar. Good day.
Hello, Bashar, and everyone. Here's my question. Quite a few years ago, I heard you say that in order to change your beliefs, you should do it one at a time. Because if you try to do it all at once, it would be disastrous. So, what I would like to know is if this disastrous state is irreversible, or if it wears off after a while, or if there's anything you can do to undisastrosize it. I hope this makes sense. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Now you're sort of exaggerating a little bit what we said, because the idea is that it's simply that most people cannot do it all at once, because most people trying to do it all at once are usually avoiding the process they're afraid to go through that gives them the information they need to actually change those beliefs more quickly. It's like they want to skip over them. Can I just believe that I'm letting go of all of my negative beliefs? Well, yes, you can. But if you're not actually truly doing that, then they will come back multiplied. And that's what you're referring to as disastrous. Is now you have more to deal with because you've been avoiding and avoiding and avoiding going through the process bit by bit of really learning why you have those beliefs, really educating yourself as to why you might have held on to them so that you can let go of them with education and consciousness as opposed to just trying to skip over them. Can I just get rid of all this all at once? Well, you can try that, but for most people it won't work because it's through avoidance that you're doing that instead of through understanding and mastering the idea of why you believe them to begin with so that you can know yourself and be fluent within yourself about why you choose to believe what you believe. That's the mastery. So, yes, it's not impossible that you could quickly let go of something, but the paradox is the more you understand why you're holding on to it, the quicker you can let it go rather than just simply skipping over it, which might turn out to be quote unquote disastrous because now you'll have to go back and figure out all over again what it is you're trying to avoid. So I would always suggest just go with the process. You can eliminate some of the process by examining your beliefs and letting go of the things that are truly unnecessary. You can shorten the process to a certain point. But whatever process is left is the process that's necessary for you to understand and know yourself clearly. And that's what allows for the acceleration of letting these things go, not just avoiding them, not just skipping over them. because then you're avoiding the whole reason why you came to Earth, to experience these ideas and transform them so that you gain mastery and understanding and experience yourself from a new point of view. Otherwise, what's the point of being here at all if you're going to just skip over it all? Go through the process. That's the point. You learn about who you are and you enrich yourself and expand yourself in ways that are extremely important for your growth as a being, as a spirit.
Hello, good morning.
Good day, good day.
So I just wanted to start off today with a statement of appreciation. This particular season of my life has been a season of kind of synchronistic challenges coming up for me.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And it's with the idea of allowing myself to be seen and heard in a more public manner. So thank you for participating with me in this particular interaction.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Thank you. So my first set of questions has to do with the cryptic.
Yes.
On July 20th and the 21st, while I was on the West Coast, I was doing the cryptic on the 20th, and I was walking home. The cryptic was done synchronistically later at night, even though that's not usually what I do. I was walking home, and kind of beside a street lamp and through a street lamp, I had seen a strange prism of kind of rainbow light just kind of sitting there. At first, I thought it was maybe some strange refraction of the light, but it was really crystallized. And I just kind of stood there, in awe and appreciation. The rainbow prism type thing kind of dematerialized out of reality. And then the following day, on the 21st, I was doing the cryptic. And in the middle of the cryptic, I decided to open my eyes and look up. And there were just seagulls kind of flying overhead. Again, this was also synchronistically later at night. And there were 6 seagulls, and then a 7th flew by. But then I realized the 7th wasn't actually a seagull. It was like this thing that was at the same altitude. It was relatively large. It was like an orb of light with kind of a comet-like tail. It flew straight with the directions of the seagulls, and then it kind of also dissipated out of reality. So I was wondering what those two experiences were.
All right. The first is the beginning of breaking through the barriers of one reality to another, beginning to encroach from the idea of the cryptic level. One moment. To the nocturnal level. So the idea is, as you begin to establish connections to the physical plane in a certain way, the multidimensional nature of the physical plane, shifting from the cryptic to the nocturnal level can allow you to begin to tap into more parallel realities and break through the barrier or the veil from the idea of physical to multidimensional realities, representing the idea of the crystalline form of breaking through into the next plane, the dimensional plane, that will allow you to expand your consciousness into a multitude. In a sense, you're starting to see the shards, the whole idea of the different shards, each shard reflecting a different parallel reality. So it's the first breakthrough into the idea of the nocturnal level. The idea of what you were seeing up above is more of some of the things that exist. There are multidimensional life forms that pass in and out of your reality now and then, that animals can perceive, that humans are beginning to perceive. The idea is that there are many different kinds of life forms multidimensionally passing into and out of your reality, and you are beginning to perceive one of those life forms that comes and goes, that flies along with the birds many times, but is another life form that is connected to the earth, but lives on a more rarefied, sort of lower astral realm. So you're expanding your awareness of the idea of elementals, which is the first cryptic idea. The first cryptic level is to begin to experience elementals and those that can come in from other dimensional planes, dipping into your reality temporarily, extending your senses so that you can begin to see them in that way as well.
Okay, So with regards to the first experience, there was kind of a pause. Was that because you were deciding whether or not to give me some information or experience things on my own? And then with the second thing, was that interdimensional and elemental, or was it something else?
As I said, it is a life form that exists in the lower astral that can take on energies of the elemental in your reality to be able to be perceivable by you. So
Okay.
it dips in and out, taking on a form, entering your reality, taking on a form that is representative of your reality, but then going back out into its own form in the lower astral, which is a little bit different looking. Yet it takes on that form when it enters your reality so that you can perceive it. The hesitation was simply the idea of looking for the appropriate way to explain the information to you that you were experiencing in a way that was more beneficial for you specifically and your personality to utilize.
Okay. Cool. I got you. I'll definitely be re-listening to that as well. It's interesting because that was kind of like a peak experience, and that's a good reflection and confirmation that you just provided me, because I did kind of feel like I was tapping into those lower astral levels, at least from a visual perspective.
Yes.
But even though I've continued with the cryptic since, and been having wonderful communications with plants and animals in particular, bald eagles and the like, I haven't quite experienced anything like that again.
That's all right.
Which is interesting. Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
It's just interesting how there's like kind of like peaks of different experiences that are happening.
Exactly. You tap in, you utilize the experience for a while, you prepare yourself for other experiences later. They don't have to keep happening the same way. It's giving you enough to work with to be able to apply into your reality and add to what you're already doing so that you can build on that, and then you will have a different kind of peak experience later.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. That was wonderful. Okay, so last year, while I was in the location that I am currently, I was on my way to do cryptic in this particular forest that I do it in the East Coast, and there were 2 Tic Tac ships which I had seen. I was very excited about that. I was just kind of like staring at them in awe, and so I was wondering who were in those ships. I'm assuming it's some hybrid children as well. Assuming maybe that is some that I have a connection with. And
the Tic Tac ships, as you call them, are mostly the product of the Yael.
Okay. So it would have been Yael beings as well.
Yes.
Okay. And then here's the question that I wanted to ask, because it was interesting to me, because I thought this might have been the case, though I didn't know. It kind of seemed to me that they were there perhaps because of a fluctuation of vibrational energy, like a spike as a result of me having been doing the cryptic in that location, and so they were trying to see like what's what, or was it that they were like people that I actually have connections with that were just kind of coming to say hi, how you doing?
Well, it can be a multitude of things. We can't necessarily predict every single reason why someone might show up. They may be paying attention to shifts in energy that you're connected to, shifts in energy in general in the area. They might be on some other kind of exploratory mission at that particular point, just observing things in general, or they might have more specific connected purposes to see how you're doing and take a reading. It could be a multitude of things.
All right. Okay. Cool. I will sit on this and meditate on the information you've given me. This was really great on like a whole lot of levels. Thank you so much. I will be seeing you at some point, maybe in 20 years in open contact, maybe in my dreams, who knows. But thank you. This has also been really great in expanding my telepathy. So to whatever degree I've been doing that. Thank you very much for that.
We thank you. Aveo, and good day.
Aveo, and to you as well.
Hello, Bashar. Happy to be in your presence. I have 2 questions. The first one is, do I have any hybrid kids, and if so, how many? And the second question is, what is the purpose for this lifetime? What has my soul chosen as a purpose? Thank you, and I appreciate you very much.
Your purpose is to be yourself as fully as you can, but you're also participating in the hybridization agenda for the benefit of the evolution of the human race, So the idea of the hybrid children that you have, yes, we can't tell you exactly how many because genetic material is spread among many thousands of them. But the idea is that you're helping with the evolution of the human race to move toward becoming the sixth hybrid race as part of the evolutionary path of humanity. But your own purpose is your own in terms of following your passion and being who you are to benefit and be of service to humanity by expressing your gifts to them and sharing your gifts, whatever they may be, by acting on your passion. That's your purpose in life. Be yourself as fully as you possibly can. Enjoy your life. Be the shining and living example of someone who is living their life to the fullest so that others can see in you an example of something they may choose for themselves as well.
Bashar.
Good day.
Good day. Great to speak with you again.
And you as well. What would you like to discuss this day?
First off, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what you know about the Shi and where they come from and what their story is.
Well, they're, again, part of the interdimensional elemental groups that exist in between, so to speak, in a slightly more refined version of physical reality that's connected to Earth, overlapping into the lower levels of the astral realm so they can come and go and present themselves as they need to humans when and where it seems appropriate to them to do so. They are strongly connected to the idea of shape-shifting energy that is available to all beings on Earth should you attempt to connect to that particular level to help you understand how you shift all the time from reality to reality. They're very representative of the idea of the realms of magic, so to speak, the idea of, again, attuning to different reality, parallel realities, and allowing yourself to sort of shape-shift into them to represent whatever degree of that reality you need to represent your path in life. So the Shi are very good as representatives of the go-betweens, the interdimensionalization of your awareness to become more than you think yourselves to become more magical in your experience of life, to experience more synchronicities, to be presented with the idea of curiosity and clues and puzzles that allow you to solve your own internal sort of questions and follow the paths that lead to your own discovery of internal treasures.
Lovely. And is there an extraterrestrial history to the Shi?
Well, only in the sense that they can commune with those beings from other places. They themselves are not extraterrestrial. They're very anchored to the Earth, but again, in a multidimensional way. But anything that allows itself to experience its own multidimensionality will, by definition, overlap into the ability to communicate with extra-dimensional and extraterrestrial and even spirit beings.
Lovely. Okay, thank you. And the crystal skull, the one that found itself in Ireland,
Yes.
At the time that it found itself arriving to Ireland, what are some of the things that might have happened around that time? What was the society like, and how might they have interfaced with the crystal skull or reacted to it, or what was going on around that time?
A lot. Well, it's mostly the idea of what you consider to be the Druidic times, the ancient Celts. But the idea is that a lot of the information that was derived from the crystal skulls is what allowed things like Stonehenge and other kinds of dolmens to be built at the time. So the understanding of those things had been locked into the crystal skulls and was extracted by Druidic priests from the crystal skulls and ancient Atlanteans to help build those things that would help orient you in the future.
And would it have been something that would have been kept private and very, or would a lot of people have known about this?
Well, a lot of people may have known, but the practice was mostly kept in what would be considered to be the priesthoods.
Yeah. Okay. And would it have been in contrast to general society at the time, the way things are at the moment, in a sense?
Well, to some degree, yes. I mean, again, it is a special practice to have been a Druidic priest, especially from the ancient Atlantean lines. So not everyone was really adept at going in that direction, but some of the information, some of it, was freely shared with the general public, although some of it over time became more symbolized and more ritualized and more separated.
Okay. And would the she have interfaced with this crystal skull, or would they have anything to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it still buried somewhere, or is it under care at the moment?
Both. Those that care for it know where it is buried.
Okay.
They can still care for it in their own way, because it's all about energetics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are those carers human?
Well, yes, but they are exhibiting a high level of genetic diversity in terms of the idea that all humans are hybridized.
Wow, interesting. On planet Earth at the moment, are there readily available devices that allow for microelectrical signals to catalyze healing in the same way as frequency and vibration would?
Yes.
Yeah. And is that just as powerful as sound? I guess it's a permission slip, but
it is.
Yeah. I wonder, could you share a little bit with me about tics, as in bodily tics and vocal tics, and what they generally tend to?
Well, it can represent a number of different things depending upon how energy is flowing along your nervous system and what kind of resistance or blockages there may be and what kind of expansion or relaxation there may be going on to allow more or less energy through at a variety of times. It's a little bit too vague to talk about all the different ways in which those things could express themselves and what they may represent in terms of either the holding back or the letting go or letting through of energy and information that may be coming to an individual and how they may be processing it based on their belief systems.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm having I guess a challenge at the moment. Like, I understand that everything that you've taught or taught over the last 10 years I've been listening to you, and it's incredible. It's an incredible, I guess, skill to have, and I find myself these days remembering and forgetting like a 1,000 times a day, so I could be, and the forgetting that those grains of sand, as you put it, in the engine, in the more refined engine, they can really bring the day to a halt, and then I can immediately change it, and it's going in and out and in and out, and there's a couple of things that I'm just finding really challenging, and I feel like they're the last couple of things or something. And
all right, that's all right. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Remember, the process is the point.
Exactly. Yeah. I sometimes get worried that I'm though I feel like I'm expanding and things are getting better and I've got more ability to react consciously. The things that are hanging on, I can get worried about them and think, oh God, no, I'm not on track at all. And with the reflection as it is in the world today, with such contrast available to tap into,
just relax and make your choices according to what you feel is correct for you. You always have the opportunity to change your mind, but the idea is you're exploring, and that's all right. You can keep exploring. You don't have to worry about the idea. Just make your choices, see how they feel. You don't feel right about them, make another choice. You always have the power to choose. Just stay in the moment with it, that's all.
Yeah. And you said before, don't look where you don't want to go, and this idea of what you focus on will manifest. And
yes, but don't worry about that either, because even if it does, you're aware enough to know that that is or isn't what you prefer, and to make a different choice. And that's the whole point. As long as you keep checking in with yourself, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. Okay. Great. So this is just a kind of it comes with the territory of becoming more aware of the choices that are possible.
It goes with the territory. Yes.
But the challenge of having those I guess negative options or negative manifestations will go away the more I
the options will never go away. You'll become more aware of them, but you'll be less likely to choose them.
because they don't feel right. It'd be like going shopping and picking a shirt that is too small and saying, well, this is an option. I could wear this, but if I put this on, it's going to feel too tight. And that's not comfortable for me. So I'll choose something else, a little bit more roomy.
Yeah. Okay. So as we shift more and more into the Earths that we prefer, as we make those kinds of choices, does that mean that those choices that are on our table at the moment in terms of just the contrast available, does that mean they'll still be part of this Earth experience, and I'll still see them, but I'll need to make choices?
It can be that, and at first it will be that, because again, it's giving you the opportunity to really anchor into what your true choices are by constantly giving you the choices that are not by comparison, so that you can really decide which way to go. So you can see by contrast what you truly do prefer and don't prefer in a non-judgmental way. Just see what doesn't fit. So yes, for a while, you'll be even more aware of the things that you don't prefer. But that's all right to be aware of them, to know they're there. Because again, it gives you more opportunity to not choose them, to see how many ways you can not choose what you don't prefer, as well as seeing more ways to choose what you do. You expand. Remember, that option exists on every single level. You become more aware of what you don't prefer as you expand. But you also become more aware that you don't have to choose them, that they're just not right for you. So it equals out, it balances out.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more easy to recognize what is not you by seeing more of what is not you.
Yeah.
And otherwise, you can't expand.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's good. Thanks, Bashar. And just one last thing, there doesn't seem to be much ET action in Ireland.
No. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Okay.
You don't have to always be aware of it, but there's a lot. You may become more aware of it in time. You'll see.
Thank you. Lovely.
All right.
Well, that's it. That's great, Bashar. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Aveo.
Aveo. Take care. Bye.
Hey, hello, Bashar. You said the window of contact will happen in 2025 till 2033, and open contact will happen in 2037. Does this change? Because you said that this gave us this message many years ago. I just want to know, is there any change happen? Thank you. I love you, Bashar.
Yes. We have already said that the window has broadened to this year, 2023. It still can extend to 2023, maybe 2040. But we have also said now more recently that there might be a contact event of some sort at the end of 26 and the beginning of 27. So yes, it's constantly dynamically fluctuating within that general window. This is a general window that can contain many different markers and many different experiences that may lead to changes in the timeline for contact, but generally taking place within that window still. But it has broadened a little, yes. Good day, good day.
Good day to you too. It's a pleasure to meet you finally.
And you as well. What would you like to discuss with us this day?
I have a lot of questions. I thought maybe the best first one was if there's anything I can hear right now that will most accelerate my expansion, something like that.
Are you doing your best to act on your passion? Yes or no?
I believe so, yes. One of the questions is about the details of that.
All right, well, let's explore that then.
Okay. So one is, the rule is follow your excitement or your passion. And
what else? And what else? It's not just act on your passion. It's act on your passion to the best you can. No insistence, no assumption as to the outcome. Stay in a positive state and constantly examine your beliefs to let go of the fear-based ones. That's the whole formula. Are you, as precisely as possible, following all aspects of it?
Yes, thank you. And the question was about what exactly excitement and passion is, because I was wondering, like, when do my taxes get done? Like,
all right. So the idea, of course, is Passion is your physical interpretation of the messages from the higher mind, guiding you in the direction that is most true and in alignment with your core vibration. So you interpret those messages from the higher mind, saying, this is the next step, this is the next step, this is the next step. But the idea is that these things are being filtered through your belief systems, beliefs that you've been taught to harbor in the physical mind about what you think should or shouldn't be done in a way that it shouldn't be done, and so on and so forth. So there are many things in your reality physically that many people may discount or think cannot be representative of their passion because of how they've been taught to define it, how they've been taught to relate to it. So it's always about examining your definitions to make sure that whatever it is that is truly necessary in your reality can be done in the most exciting way that you can imagine doing it, if it is something that is truly necessary. Unless you can find a way in your passion that it doesn't need to be done. But for the things that you have agreed to abide by in your society, in your reality, there's always a way, there's always a path for you that can allow it to be done in the most exciting way possible. Are you willing to explore that idea?
Yes, and like, so is this a false belief that that some things are just contradict each other? Like, I feel like I have obligations, say, in some of my relationships, like I'm a husband and a father. And
all right. Now, when you say the word obligation, is that coming with a negative connotation and a definition, or a positive one?
I think it's mostly positive in that
that means there is some negativity to it.
In that it would exclude other things, like two things can't be in the same place at the same time.
But are the other things necessary and truly representative of your passion? Or are you just assuming that these things cannot converge?
Well, that's exactly the question, is that I think I definitely lean towards, yeah, some things probably can't. They are exclusive, but I'm sort of hoping that's wrong, I guess. I'm hoping that...
Well, can you be more specific? Because we cannot really discuss this if you're going to be vague about it.
So, like, I have children. So,
yes.
I
How
imagine
old?
following
How old?
1.5 and 3.
All right, and?
So I imagine following my excitement would tend to take me away from them often. Like, I'd be
Why?
Sorts of things.
Why?
Because I'm excited about all sorts of things that are not exactly taking care of them.
Are those things what allow you to take care of them? Do they give you the ability to take care of them?
Maybe, like,
again, can you be specific?
Well, like, recently I started getting interested in current events again. It feels like a distraction. Like, I can't imagine I'm going to turn that into like a career or something.
Why? Is it a distraction? Is that an honest answer? Are you distracting yourself, taking yourself away from a focus because of the negative connotations you have of what it means to be focused on them?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out, how to differentiate, is like, am I fooling myself, or am I being honest?
All right. Well, can you be a little bit more specific about the idea of any negative connotations you have about the idea of taking care of young children? Does it, in your mind, prevent you from doing other things that you think are necessary?
Does. I mean, you can, so far in my experience, I can take care of kids, but I can't do anything else. It's really hard to do anything else at the same time.
Can you give an example of one thing you can do while taking care of them that you enjoy?
Yeah, like, one thing that I enjoy would be, say, reviewing videos on audio. Like, I can have my earbud in and I can be like making food for them, and I can be learning about something, for example, on audio.
All right. So taking care of them doesn't stop you from expressing that part of your excitement, correct?
Correct.
All right. How far does that need to go in order for you to feel fulfilled? That's really the question. What do you think you're missing? What do you think you're missing?
Oh, the manifestation of stuff, like turning things into actual experiences and like physical reality.
All right. Now let me ask you this question. Why are you in such a hurry to do so? Are you running out of time in your mind?
Yes.
All right. Well, that's one of the primary things you need to relax about. You have all the time in the world. There's no hurry here.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
That's behind this would be, yeah, if we're immortal and live multiple lives, okay, that time isn't even real. Okay. But this life, has like a progression to it. So
what?
like my kids will only be 3 for a little bit. So
exactly.
Like if I wanted them to say, travel to see Aztec temples, while they're 5, then I only have 2 years to do that. For example, that's a time limit, right?
Why do you keep putting time limits on things instead of allowing the timing to synchronistically show you when it's appropriate for these kinds of things to happen in a natural order? Why aren't you letting the organizing principle of synchronicity serve you instead of insisting on how you think things should be arranged?
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to straighten out. I think intellectually I understand all of this,
but emotionally you don't.
Emotionally, I don't know.
You're worried that you're running out of time. You're worried that things won't happen in their proper timing. You think you have to arrange all these things. You don't have to arrange any of it. It's all prearranged.
Yeah.
You have to relax into it to allow the timing to unfold and show you when the best possible timing is for these kinds of exciting things to happen so that you're experiencing them together as a family. You're not trying to coordinate like some sort of director your family's timing in these things. You have to allow the timing you've all already agreed to manifest itself synchronistically so that everyone will be enriched in their own good timing and that it'll all fall into place.
Okay, and that's definitely what I try to tell myself is, it's all being coordinated.
But why don't you believe it?
Because I keep hearing that I can do that better or worse, right? And then
keep hearing from whom?
From you, for example, from...
No. I've never told you have to rush these things.
No, not rush, of course. Just, there's lots and lots of advice. Like you can interpret things.
All right. But what I'm telling you now, the idea is to allow it to unfold synchronistically.
Mm-hmm.
That's the better of it. Not the idea of trying to arrange things, thinking that you're running out of time and that it doesn't happen in the next 2 years, then something's wrong. I've never said that.
Of course, not that something's wrong. I think what I've heard is that technically everything is right. Everything is sort of
in a sense, but you can make it seem wrong by straining with these things. Again, in other words, sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. You have to catch up to your time frame, your timing, by trusting the timing in terms of how things do unfold. So let's ask the specific question. Now, you just said something about, well, I want them to visit Aztec temples when they're 5. Why?
It's not that I specifically need that. It's just an example of the kind of thing that I would like to do with them, of make things
but
real.
Why in 2 years?
The timing isn't super important on it. It's just I want them to have more of an experience of these things being real, not just things they see on the laptop or,
That's all well and good. But again, you're pushing for it as if it's absolutely crucial to do it at a certain timing. Why? Are you afraid they're going to not get it if they're 6 or 7 or even 10? Are you afraid it's going to be too late or something?
Well, I think I have regrets about what I interpret as moving slowly and failing to take advantage of things and doing stuff wrong.
I see. All right.
Now, and I don't want to.
So you're planning your future based on the self-judgments of the past. Not a good idea, because all you're doing is putting more self-judgment into the future. Let go of the past. Let go. Learn what you learn, but relax into what you learn and allow yourself to start really trusting the timing as it unfolds. There are other ways you can get them prepped for those things. You can tell them stories. You can show them stories. You can show them images. It's all right for them to see things online right now. The idea, again, is there will be time for them to experience the dimensionality of these things in the appropriate timing. But it's not going to work out if you're planning the future based on the regrets of the past.
Okay, thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to untangle. Is the implication that I got out of what you just said, which I hope is wrong, is that I could not screw up exactly, but if I'm too tense now and too resistant, things will go a different direction than they could have gone.
Absolutely.
So, I'm nervous about that.
Unclench. Unclench. Are you taking any kind of breathing exercises or relaxation exercises or yogic practices or anything like that?
Um, I've tried them off and on. I haven't stuck with anything.
That's because you've been too impatient. You need to really start living in the moment and trusting that whatever's happening in the moment is exactly what needs to be happening in the moment, and work with what's happening in the moment instead of being in such a hurry to move on. You're not living your life in the moment. You're not appreciating your life in the moment. You think you have to be somewhere other than where you are. There's nothing more important than where you are. You need to learn to extract from every single present moment the richness that is there for you to appreciate. But you're caught up in the idea of regrets. You're caught up in the idea that you're doing something wrong, and it's squeezing the life out of you, literally. You have to unclench, open up, and appreciate every single thing that's happening in the moment, because whatever's happening in the moment will never happen again. And then you'll have more regrets because you'll think you missed something. So stop missing things by not living in the moment. Stay where you are. Trust that everything that's happening is what needs to be happening for everyone involved. You will pace yourself better. You will enrich yourself by learning how to extract what's going on in the moment to your and everyone else's advantage. And you'll start to see opportunities that come to you in those moments that you're not seeing now, because you're squeezing your eyes so shut from what's happening in the moment that you're not even seeing the opportunities that are there for you, because they can't come to you. You can't have the inspirations and the imaginations you need to have to enrich yourself and your family's lives in the moment when your eyes are tightly squeezed shut because you're refusing to see what's happening now as being more valid than anything else. So you really need to open up to the present and see what the present contains for you. That gives you everything you need in the moment. The enrichment is right here, right now, in everything that happens in the now. Nothing that's going to happen in the future is going to be more important. Whatever's happening now is the most important thing. Learn to see that, and you'll relax. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anything that me personally you could suggest? Because it's not like I haven't been hearing that my entire life.
It doesn't matter how many times you hear it. Until you make it true for yourself, you're not going to feel it. You have to understand how true it is. Everything you need is in the moment. Everything you need is given to you in the moment. But you can't see it if you're not looking for it, if you're not accepting the moment for what it is. When you do accept the moment, that it contains everything you need in that moment, you'll find that it's a world of great exploration with lots of ideas and inspirations that will come to you to allow you to make that moment much richer than you're making it. You are robbing yourself of the richness of the moment by not living fully in it, by always looking to the future, always regretting the past. So relax, do some breathing, just take it in, be here now. There's nowhere else you are anyway. Maybe.
Sure.
Are you able to express yourself artistically somehow? Drawing, painting, things like that? Music?
I can draw, yeah.
Can you draw?
Yeah.
Do you draw enough?
I don't draw very much. I usually draw diagrams.
All right. Well, you might want to draw something a little bit more expressive. Start exploring the idea of just drawing things around you. Just draw them. Not diagrams, things. All right? Just look at things, really appreciate things. Draw them. Draw them out. And then draw fantasy ideas too. Things that are not necessarily in your reality exactly, but are exciting to you to draw. Get lost in your imagination for a moment. Go back to being a child a little bit more. Get caught up in the idea of creation on paper. It can eventually leak into your physical reality. If you give yourself over to your imagination, take some time to explore it, and really let that creative part of you out rather than being quite so rigidized with only things like diagrams. Again, a little bit too structured. Need a little bit less structure, a little bit more creativity, a little bit more spontaneity, a little bit more living in the moment, a little bit more appreciation of what there is right here, right now. See past the immediate things to the deeper parts of them, the richness of the moment. Let your mind ponder things. All right?
Okay.
All right. And breathe. Just breathe through it. Take a moment to really just look at something. Look at your children. Just look at them and appreciate them for who they are. These are master beings that you've agreed to share a life with. Just ponder all that they are. Just looking at them, you can learn a lot. They can telepathically give you a lot. Let your imagination go. Let it be free. All right?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Does this help you?
It does help, yes.
All right. And
Hey,
if
that's
that
all.
serves you,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
move on. Thank you.
Hi, Bashar. This is Victor from New York, and I want to ask you why you said that humans are a herbivorous species, or we are herbivorous in nature, when for me this contradicts everything we know from science and history. A healthy vegan population has never existed on Earth, according to archaeological and anthropological evidence. Dolphins and other cetaceans are carnivorous, and they're at least as enlightened as us, if not more so. Many plant species are carnivorous. There's also more heavy hydrogen, more deuterium in plant food than animal food, and it's far worse with GMOs. Every diet results in the death of other creatures, and veganism results in more wasteful death than a proper omnivorous diet. Our bodies are a walking rainforest filled with microbes, parasites, etc., that are carnivorous, omnivorous, etc. Geological forces, the weather, etc., cause death and destruction as part of the natural life cycle of Earth. On average, vegans only remain so for about 7 years due to health issues. So why are you telling us that we are herbivorous in nature? I want to be able to defend what you're saying, but it contradicts everything we currently know in our sciences. I hope you can give me more context to understand, as I am a nutritionist and I want to understand. Thank you very much.
First of all, that's a misunderstanding. I have never said that humanity has to be exclusively herbivorous, ever. You are omnivores. This is the natural cycle of Earth, and different people have different expressions. I've always said, let your body consciousness tell you what it is you need, be it the idea of meat protein or plant protein, and to balance these things out as necessary for each of you. It is a misunderstanding that you think we have ever said you should only eat plants. We have said that sometimes when you raise your frequency, you may lose the urge to eat the heavier substances, but you have to allow that to happen in a natural way for you. But there are those that have certain chemical constituencies in their bodies that require meat protein. Welcome to the cycles of Earth. Yes, the idea of death and destruction are part of the natural cycles of Earth at this time. We have never encouraged you otherwise, other than to say balance yourselves according to what feels natural to you. So please understand us clearly. We are not saying that you are forced to go in one direction or the other, that it should be a natural balance of all things according to what the body consciousness is telling you you naturally need to feel like you are going to maintain your health. That's all we have ever said. Don't misunderstand us. All we have said is make sure it's the most natural, organic, and appreciated and respected sources so that you are not putting toxins into your body as best as you possibly can avoid them. That's all we have ever said.
Hi.
And are you a good day?
Hi, it's an honor to meet you. I've been looking forward to this for a very long time.
All right, it is our passion and our pleasure to interact with you as well. What would you like to discuss with us this day?
A few things. So first, I am very curious about the process of channeling, more so from your end, and more what the process is like for you. I grew up. My father is somewhat psychic-esque, we could say, and I walked in on him when I was in high school speaking in tongues as he was working on my stepmother who had an illness at the time, and it's recently just been in my mind a lot, like come back to my memory like crazy, and I am curious if there is a connection between speaking and people that are able to speak in tongues, and if what if there's a difference between people who are speaking in like a tongues or a different language when they're
All right.
maybe.
Yes, there are different ways of expressing this, but we will say this. What many people on your planet call speaking in tongues, or even have referred to as light language, is kind of an embryonic form of channeling without a translation into an understandable language. So in other words, it's the raw, unfiltered energy vibrations that they're bringing through that need some sort of sonic accompaniment, but that doesn't mean that their brain is translating it into an understandable language. It means that it's necessary at that point that it just be left as the tonal vibrational qualities that can act energetically to help make changes for other people to match those frequencies and change themselves. So it's kind of like a level of channeling that is left just above the idea of actually translating it into understandable language for the physical mind. It lets the physical mind get out of the way and just allows the tonal vibrations to do their work. Does that help?
Yeah, significantly. Thank you. Is there a reason that it comes in differently, like for specific people? Why one might interpret in there?
Yes, of course. Well, again, it depends upon what agreements that person has made in terms of how they wish to bring energy through that might work for them better than any other way. It has to do a lot with belief systems that people have picked up on in being a physical being on Earth, in terms of what they believe is possible for them or what they believe is necessary. It's what's relevant for them to do, perhaps, at that moment. It could change over time as well. But right now, it might be about what it is that just works for them in terms of bringing things through that can be of assistance for other people.
Understood. Okay, thank you. I was in another one of your live events recently, and during the meditation, I felt a connection, a vibration that I've never felt before. And I mean, I say vibration very, very, very literally.
Yes.
Didn't feel like a heartbeat. It didn't feel like anything. And actually, shortly before this live, I was I really enjoyed the way that you did that, and I felt I had a lot of movement during it. So I was trying to kind of put myself in that again, walk myself through it the way that you did, and I went into a state where my hands almost locked up into a position I never seen before, and I went to speak, but a lot of like words almost weren't coming out as easily as they normally would.
Yes. Well, again, you're getting used to a level of acceptance and reception, and it's something you can practice doing if you wish, but at first it might be a little halting, and that's all right. You're just not used to the energy frequency.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's wonderful. So I have my next question. I've seen some of your content talking about, the life is meaningless, and
in a positive sense.
Yes, in a positive sense. But I've also heard you talk about agreements that are made before, like,
yes,
for these live, and how I'm curious about purpose and things like that. If we come in, if we maybe, I'm assuming it's not everybody, but I'm assuming some people agree to either go through certain lessons or processes to bring them to a specific, version of themselves. And I'm curious if that version of themselves is it supposed to manifest that way, just no matter what decision they make in life?
In some cases, yes. Well, let's put it on the most basic level. You will always be you in this life. You may do many things, but you will always do them as you. You can't help that. You have constructed the idea of your basic personality, and that is your destiny. That is your hallway. Can't get out of that until you die. But you can do it in any number of ways that are still relevant for you doing them as you. And you will do them uniquely like no one else, because you are you and you are unique. So that's a fundamental agreement. You will experience everything and many things, no matter how many times you change, you will only experience them as you changing into what versions of you are relevant for this particular experience that you chose to have. That make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Let me see. I had kind of a more specific question in terms of, I guess, manifesting or switching to other, or another parallel reality. And I understand that it's one of the things that you've said that really has changed my life in the past, I guess, 2 months has been at every given moment, whenever it is any choice that's available, choosing the one that makes you the most excited, the most passionate, the one that's the most attractive, that makes you feel the best. And even doing that with my thoughts has been immensely helpful in just mental health and
All
general will
right.
to live. General will to live.
Yes.
So I'm curious about relocating, like in general.
Where?
For me specifically, I guess I don't care as long as it's not where I currently am. If that.
Oh, all right. Where are you currently?
I'm in Vermont, and
where would you rather be? Does anything pop into your mind first? Even if it's a general description of an environment?
There's two. I mean, I grew up partially in New York and then partially in New Hampshire, and I've always, since I was like 4 years old, been obsessed with upstate New York, and I've made more friends there. I've made friends there far easier than anywhere else. And
so what is it that prevents you from being there?
It's financial, and I feel like
financial.
Yeah.
That is what prevents you from being where you prefer to be? Is there any way that you could be there without necessarily considering it from a financial perspective? Or is there something you could do in that location that would provide what you need to stay there?
At this moment, that's something I'm working on.
Which means what?
Well,
what kind of service do you provide in life to people? What can you do for them that they would want?
I guess it's kind of a hard question for me to answer, but
why? Is there nothing you can do that people would enjoy?
I have some things. I guess I just doubt its ability to mean literally.
Like what?
I've gotten very, like, obvious. I said I grew up very spiritual, and I grew up into very like quantum jumping and learning about like different matrix energetics and different forms of magic and all of that. And I tried college. I tried like 4 different majors, and it just never ever worked. And
all right, but those things don't necessarily have anything to do with what it is you have to give as a gift. What would you like to be doing? If you could do anything, what would you wish could support you?
Okay. I want to learn what this is. I want to learn more about everything. I guess I'm very into metaphysics and astrology, and
all right.
I want to learn more about, I guess, I really have been focused on taking control back and not letting all of these things that people said and did to me that I, for some reason, chose to believe, and let it affect me, and trying to like release all of those so that.
All right. But in the meantime, what can you give to other people that they would enjoy receiving from you?
I mean, I guess in that way it would just be making content, I assume, about like I'm very into astrology, and I've been I've been thinking about making videos and going on TikTok.
You've been thinking about it, but why not do it?
I'm horrified, and I don't want to be.
You're horrified?
Yeah, I have a fear of being perceived, I guess, in just a very basic sense. Like
So you are being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand why I'm saying it that way?
Yeah.
If you have a gift to give and you are not giving it, you're depriving someone of getting it who's waiting to receive it because you're horrified.
Yeah.
Do you understand that if you have a gift to give, there is someone waiting to receive it? Otherwise, you wouldn't be excited about having it and giving it. That's how it works. As we say, there's no such thing as a one-sided coin. If you have the head, the tail has to be there or there isn't a coin. So if you're excited about doing something, there must be. That's your clue that there's someone waiting to receive it. And by not giving it, you're depriving them. You're making them wait. They're looking for something and you're holding it back from them. It's not very nice.
No, it's not. Thank you. That was wonderful to hear.
Stop being so concerned about yourself and be of service to others, to give them what you have to share for those who are waiting. Yes, there'll be those who aren't waiting for it, but that's not your audience anyway. So who cares? There are those that are waiting to receive, those that are waiting to connect with you. Make the connection the best you can. You'll change, you'll improve, you'll get better, but you won't get better if you don't start because you're not going to practice. So you have to start somewhere. And if you do that, then you are giving the best you can. You are being of service the best you can. And when you are being of service the best you can, you will be served in turn. You will be supported. But if you're not willing to support others by giving them your gift, how is the universe going to reflect that support back to you by supporting you in the ability to support others? You're not starting the ball rolling. You're not starting the reflection. So nothing comes back and you're afraid you won't be supported because you're not the one that's doing the supporting. So how can you get a reflection of support? You have to support to be supported. You have to serve to be served. Physical reality is a reflection. Unless you initiate, nothing comes back. If you don't have an image in the mirror, there's no reflection. If the lights are off, you don't see anything. Turn the lights on so you can see your reflection, so the reflection can come back to you and support you and guide you. You're sitting in the dark.
Yeah.
Click, turn the light on. Start serving in any way you can. Use your imagination, put it out there. Be excited about it. You'll see it will support you. And remember, there's more ways to be supported than just financially. Remember, there are different forms of abundance. Let them all work for you. Don't get stuck on one. Otherwise, you close the doors through which all the other forms of abundance could also be reflected to you.
Definitely.
So, is that enough of a kick in the pants for you?
Absolutely. That was, thank you so much. That was really, really significant. So thank you.
You're welcome. Happy to oblige because you're worth it.
Thank
And
you.
you have gifts to give. Don't deprive people of your gifts. You're here for a reason. Appreciate yourself.
Yeah. It's, yeah, you're definitely right. I see where a lot of it is definitely in like yeah, I just decide to hold myself back because I get scared and it's very obvious and silly and like yeah.
Don't deprive others of what you have to give. It's selfish.
I didn't think about it like that. So
now you can.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else, or do you have what you need to move forward?
I think I have what I need to move forward. Thank you beyond words. This was incredible. Thank you.
You are welcome beyond words. Our unconditional love to you and encouragement. Good day. Aveo.
Aveo. Bye.
Hi, Bashar. Shauna here from Salem, New Hampshire. I'm super excited for my husband and I to attend your live event in Sedona in September. We are really looking forward to it. Today I have a question for you about sound healing, the relaxing, immersive experience of a sound bath. I'm fairly new to them, and I am really loving them. The woman who hosts the group sessions that I attend She walks around the room and plays certain instruments above the head of each participant. The crown, third eye, throat, and heart chakras are directly affected by this. And I personally love the feeling of the vibrations moving throughout my entire body. My question is, what, if anything, happens on a spiritual or a cosmic level when experiencing the sounds and vibrations? I understand that sound healings help to calm the mind, achieve deeper states of relaxation, reduce stress, improve sleep, ground us in the present moment, even enhance our creativity. I was curious, though, if you could offer me any other insight on how the sound and vibration affects us on a spiritual level, or any level, really. Thank you, Bashar. Aveo.
Everything is resonance. Everything is frequency. In a sense, everything is sound. And light operating at certain vibrational frequencies. So when someone may present you with the opportunity to align with certain frequencies, no matter how they are created, it's an opportunity for you to align yourself with your higher spiritual dimensional self and the vibrational resonances that are represented there on those higher planes, to connect yourself more strongly, more awarely, more consciously to the totality of your resonance, the totality of your being, which allows you to feel more aligned and more expanded. So it's up to you to match those frequencies when and where they work for you, when and where you feel it's appropriate for you to do so. It's an opportunity to, in aligning with those frequencies, align with more of your own frequencies on higher levels and higher planes, and be more of yourself and express more of yourself through on this level as well. Clearing your conduits, making it easier for energy to move through you in a more superconductive way without resistance by aligning those frequencies. Making yourself more coherent all the way up and down the vibrational frequencies of physical to non-physical reality. Incorporating more of your ability to express more of who you truly are in this realm